and then he dropped a quarter into her meter. Pausing, he thought about the size of her purse. She was probably pretty high maintenance and would be in there for a while. He dropped in a second quarter. The bell above the old door rang as he entered the general store. It was a little past noon, but the summer day had already heated up, and he was thankful for the coolness inside. Madge Miller sat behind the counter, as permanent a fixture in the store as the old-time bubblegum machines and the wooden canoe that hung from the ceiling. She usually had her nose buried in the latest romance novel. But today, her book sat on the counter, her interest taken by the new customer who was filling her arms with supplies. "Hey, Madge," Sully said with a nod as he watched the woman throw a shirt over her arm, then bump into a display rack of souvenir keychains. The rack rattled and clanged as it wobbled. Unfazed, the woman steadied the rack, juggling the clothes in her arms as she silenced the jingling keychains. Then she turned to rifle through the hangers on a rack of swimwear. Either she was used to knocking into things, or she was doing a damn good imitation of not being frazzled by the near destruction of a merchant display. She'd pushed her sunglasses on top of her head, the large frames looking like the eyes of a fly poking out of her wavy blonde hair. Miller's Mercantile was Cotton Creek's go-to store. It had grown over the years, and now sold everything from toilet paper to tennis shoes. They even stocked a little fishing gear. "Hey, Sully, something I can help you find?" Madge asked, keeping her eye on the blonde woman who grabbed a bright red bikini off the rack and added it to her pile. The swimsuit looked awful skimpy, and his mouth went dry at the thought of her curvy body squeezed into it. He was glad Madge was looking the other way and didn't notice the heat rushing to his cheeks. "Just need some batteries and a pack of light bulbs." "Do you have a place I could try these on?" the other woman asked. "Sure, hun. I'll show you the dressing rooms," Madge said, getting off her stool and then leading her toward the curtained stalls in the back of the store. Sully tried to focus on the task at hand. What had he come in for again? Oh, yeah. Batteries. But he found himself drifting closer to the fitting rooms. He almost choked on his gum when he saw her grab a pair of chest waders off the rack before she pushed through the curtain and dumped her purse and the contents of her arms in a heap on the floor. This girl did not look like the fishing type. He caught one last glimpse of her long expanse of tanned legs before she pulled the curtain shut with a clatter as the metal rings ran along the flimsy pole. The fabric stopped several feet short of the floor, and his eyes widened at the sight of her bare feet as she kicked off her high-heeled shoes. "Did you find what you were looking for?" Madge asked, drawing his attention. He cleared his throat, the temperature of the room seeming to heat up by 10 degrees. "I'm gonna need a couple of packages of those batteries, and some D-cells. I don't see any on the shelves. I think I've got some in the back. Give me a minute and let me go check." She gestured to the curtained dressing room and winced at the swear word uttered loudly from behind it. "Can you keep an eye on things out here?" "Oh yeah, sure thing," he stuttered, his eye going to the mountain of clothing visible on the floor of the dressing room. Avery Oliver reached for the pink t-shirt on the top of the pile of clothes she dumped unceremoniously onto the floor. The shirt read, "You'll fall for Cotton Creek Falls." Driving in, she'd seen a sign for the state park and the giant waterfall, Cotton Creek's obvious source of tourism on the outskirts of the tiny town. If you even considered this a town. More like a few old stores, a church, and a single stoplight. Standing in only her black lace bra and panty set, she held the shirt up to her, not bothering to try it on. She was expensing all this stuff to the magazine where she worked anyway. Serves them right for giving me this crappy assignment. She'd only been with the outdoor magazine a few months. It had been her only option at the time, the only one that had given her a chance. She'd never considered herself much of an expert on the outdoors. Even an amateur. She'd never been camping, preferring hotels and room service.